Hi there, my name is Rebecca Williamson. I'm the publisher of Fierce Pharma, and I'm here today with Chris Paquette, CEO of DeepIntent. Chris, thanks so much for joining me.
Rebecca, thanks again for having me here.
So Chris, tell me, given the evolution of pharma marketing in recent years, what do you see as the biggest shift in the pharma marketing landscape or the most disruptive influence?
Continuously for the last several years has been this idea about bringing different data sets together to kind of solve for the fragmentation problem that we have in our industry. There's fragmentation in the teams and how we process, fragmentation between commercial, med affairs. And in fact, I actually think what Fierce Pharma is doing with this conference in itself is actually trying to bring these things together. So I commend you guys for trying to start the trend of bringing everything together. I think that this will accelerate over time, and we're going to start to see more and more collaboration between market access and commercial teams. So I think this kind of like unification and defragmentation, if you will, of our space will become kind of the norm over the years. It'll take time, but it'll be the norm going forward.
Now, DeepIntent has consistently positioned itself at the intersection of healthcare and technology. So looking ahead, how do you see the role of AI, data, partnerships, and platform innovation reshaping healthcare advertising in the next 3 to 5 years?
We've been doing AI for a very long time. In fact, my background had been in deep learning, which is kind of part of the DeepIntent name, which actually was AI before it was AI, right? So, so I think we've long held this idea that machine learning, kind of more properly back then, is kind of at the core of what we do. Look, I think it's going to be transformative for how we think about engaging and personalizing the way we're communicating with these audiences. I just had a good conversation today with a brand marketer where a possibility exists where we can start to deeply personalize the creative, like the actual elements in the style of the creative to specific audiences. And you're going to need a platform that can handle decisioning like that at scale, millions of times per second. And I think there's an obvious platform that can do that, and that's the one that we built and are building now. So I think there's like practical implications or kind of practical applications. And then you can kind of look at discovery and usability of the complex tools that we have, just to even kind of bring all these different data sets and capabilities together in a easier interface, right? And kind of overall simplification of the tool stack that we use to do marketing. I think there's kind of an endless stream of opportunities here.
Now, as founder and CEO, you've scaled DeepIntent through rapid industry change, heightened competition. Tell me, what leadership lessons have been most critical in guiding the company through the growth, and how do you foster innovation and resilience across your teams?
It's a great question. We have gone through the pandemic when we went fully remote. We've had we have a big team at scale from, we were just talking before, 8 people to 380 people globally. We've had to kind of adapt and mold with kind of the changes and the times. And I think ultimately in a philosophy of adaptation and like being able to kind of adapt and having a team chemistry that's able to accept failure, chief part of my role is like making sure that those basically environments exist where our teams can be successful in kind of whatever the conditions are and be optimally successful given whatever's happening, right? And to encourage collaboration and innovation. Being able to delegate, I think a lot of the kind of day-to-day has been helpful for me, but there's also areas and opportunities where I do see kind of like my time spiking, where I do love to get back into the weeds, right? And like start to even code myself sometimes here and there. And I enjoy that. Like, and it keeps it fresh and it also keeps things relatable. So I'm not like preaching from an ivory tower, if you will.
That's good. Now, AI and technology are reshaping nearly every step of the drug commercialization process, from clinical development all the way to market launch. How do you see these innovations changing the way pharma companies educate providers and patients and then ultimately accelerate access to treatment?
What we see now are trends suggesting that, and I'm suggesting they are there. We're moving from an age of small molecules treating millions to biologics that treat thousands. I do believe there will be a time where drugs will be uniquely designed for individuals. Now, they may have platforms, but they need to customize. So I think there's going to be a kind of a critical gap that we're going to have to cross as an industry, which is how do we bring more confidence that the market is ready when the science delivers? And so I think the key there will be having success kind of pre-optimized in a way, and like being able to predict in confidence that a drug will ultimately be successful for increasingly smaller patient populations. We're going to have to get more confident in our ability to commercialize and drive outcomes is the bottom line if we're going to actually succeed in building drugs for smaller patient populations.
Sure. Now, pharma advertising often sparks debate, but research has shown that it can play a powerful role in educating patients and really encouraging more informed conversations with their doctors. So tell me, how do you see pharma ads contributing to better patient education and ultimately improving health outcomes?
92% of doctors would agree with the statement that their patients are better informed because of health advertising. So that's a kind of a non-negotiable stat there. Sure. So it's a matter of fact. But look, besides the obvious debate that's happening, there's multiple tools that are used for education, patient education. There's a prevalence of health deserts in the United States as well. So the question is, if not pharma advertising, then what, right? And it's like, look, there's been case study after case study of whether it's vaccines or even just different diseases or rare diseases. Like there's a way to educate, like a public health effort that we are part of, and I think that we need to continue to keep our eye on that, because that's a very important role, I think, for our industry to play in the broader way that healthcare is delivered to patients and providers.
So final question as we wrap up, tell me, looking towards the future, what's one bold prediction that you would make about the future of pharma marketing?
The collaboration between teams like Med Affairs, commercial, sales teams, R&D, even, it's going to get stronger and stronger. And I think what we'll find is that the ability for us to predict and almost pre-optimize our programs that we're putting into market is going to greatly inform the way that pharmas make decisions about portfolios, about their drugs in their portfolio. I think to the points we've said before, I would love to see a world where we have more targeted therapeutics with higher success, higher efficacy, treating more and more rare diseases. And I think that the only way to get to there is being able to have commercial predictability and being very confident in the commercial success for these smaller patient populations and their providers. So the analytics, the data is going to enable us to get there, and we're hoping to build the tooling that will do that.
All right, good. That's a perfect place to close out. Thank you so much for the conversation. I appreciate it.
Thank you again.